It's the best time of the year. Cheerfulness, family, merriment, and presents. The holidays are all about rekindling the nostalgic childlike fire in our hearts, but also action, violence, swearing, smoking.
You smoke?
1988's Bruce Willis classic DieHard has worked its way into the pop culture of Christmas movies, despite the great conflict of whether or not it is one. The argument has been going on ad nauseum, but don't worry, we won't be debating whether or not Die Hard is or isn't a Christmas movie. What we will be debating is, which is the better Christmas movie, Die Hard or Die Hard 2? So settle up, Mr. Cowboy.
YippieKi-Yay, motherfucker.
Now, how do we stipulate what makes a better Christmas movie? Well, let's look at some of the classics. Stories like A Christmas Carol, movies like Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life, A Christmas Story, Miracle on 34th Street, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Those films, as well as newer Christmas staples, try to encapsulate the hallmarks of a timeless feel-good holiday film. No pun intended. So, let's break it down into 6 parts. Number 1, the Christmas setting. Number 2, atmosphere. Number 3, themes. Number 4, iconic holiday moments. Number 5, merry mayhem. And number 6, cultural legacy. Let's start this off by addressing that what makes comparing these movies difficult is that Die Hard 2 will sport a lot of similar aspects from the first film. This is because director Renny Harlin maintained a lot of the beats that gave the first film its identity. The sequel established the Die Hard brand by repeating a lot of plot points. That said, let's get to the nitty-gritty, the Christmas setting. Both Die Hard and Die Hard 2 take place on Christmas Eve. That's the charm of both films. In one, John McClane travels from New York to Los Angeles when he's invited to the Nakatomi Christmas party. In the second film, McClane is in the midst of a family vacation in Washington, D.C., when he has to pick up his wife Holly at Dulles Airport when she gets called in for a work emergency. Right off the bat, of the two movies, the visual favors Die Hard 2 because it's in the middle of heavy snow weather. To be fair though, setting a Christmas movie in Los Angeles will never give you the classic Norman Rockwell-esque atmosphere that holiday films can rest easily on. Like, does anyone consider Cobra a Christmas movie? Now, of course, this doesn't apply to every film, but it's a strong visual and is usually why these holiday movies generally tend to take place in colder climates. Hell, a ton of those Hallmark movies involve a character going from warm weather locations to snowy small towns. In the first Die Hard, John gets to Nakatomi, and while the whole movie takes place in an empty building, John's arrival during the day to a completely vacant high-rise just after business hours has the feeling of a specific aspect of this time of year. Everyone is home, but there's one office Christmas party that occupies a lone floor. At the office party, everything is decked out in holiday decor. Christmas trees everywhere, poinsettias, candy in Santa's sleigh with reindeer, wrapping stuff with Christmas tape, and of course, plastic Santas with a hat that's used in one of the film's most iconic scenes. And then you come to the second film in Washington, D.C., The very first scene just after the title card puts us right into the thick of things. It's snowing heavily. Plus McClane is now at the airport on Christmas Eve and it's a zoo there. It perfectly captures the chaos of being out in public around this time. In the background, you have Dulles' big Christmas Village display. The airport is filled with chaotic holiday traveling, so the whole terminal is flooded with people and decorations dominate every scene. Die Hard 2 will take this first round. Die Hard 1 makes a great effort. It's identifiably Christmas, and the setting is very solidly established, but Die Hard 2 feels dipped in a big bucket of Yuletide. So, we've established the setting. Now, how do both movies compare with the Christmas atmosphere? Now, despite the victor of the first part, the atmosphere is what really makes the setting come to life. The funny thing about the first Die Hard is that it's more ironic about its Christmas atmosphere. As previously said, being set in Los Angeles isn't going to give you a classic Midwest Americana visual, but everyone in the movie is still celebrating the fact that it's the holidays. We have characters singing songs to themselves.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Dum-da-dum, delightful.
Even the villains are feeling festive.
It's Christmas, Theo. It's the time of miracles, so be of good cheer.
And Holly is warning little Lucy about snooping for presents and teases some Santa magic.
Well, we'll see what Santa and Mommy can do, okay?
The biggest musical cue in the first film is Ode to Joy, being both played and used in the score of the film by composer Michael Kamen, who also incorporates jingling bells throughout the movie. The irony part comes from traditional holiday subversions. McClane keeps complaining about California.
California. Fucking California.
Which leads you to the snowless weather that is hilariously paid off by endless falling papers from the destroyed floors of Nakatomi at the end. All while Let It Snow is cheekily played over the credits. Another prominent holiday jingle you get is the rap song Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC, which was a hit at the time, but not yet considered a classic Christmas song. And even McClane was taken aback by it as an alternative to traditional holiday carols. As mentioned earlier, Die Hard 2 has the visuals working for it, which is why it won the first part. It has a lot of Christmas atmosphere and is additionally less claustrophobic than the first. Nearly every scene in the airport has decorations in the background, and the bad guys even use presents as a decoy to smuggle in security risk items. The setting is why the movie won the first round. However, aside from a few references, Christmas feels more like a set decoration this time around. Don't get me wrong, it's perfectly decorated, and at one point, McClane talks about his ideal Christmas night.
Eggnog. Fucking Christmas tree. Little turkey.
But it isn't as incorporated into the movie as much as the first one. There was even a removed extended opening scene which featured a children's choir singing Carol of the Bells in the background while John walked through the airport. Had this scene not gotten cut, it would have been an effective establishment of the kind of warm feeling you get around this time of year and hammer home the Yuletide spirit. And it likely would have bumped it up a few notches in atmosphere. The first Die Hard weaves the holiday into facets of character as well as plot points, like the previously mentioned office party. Using that as a device to clear the building is an ingenious way to simplify congested plot details. That's Christmas baked right into the narrative. Die Hard takes this round. Christmas movies often revolve around a few core themes: reconnecting with loved ones, rediscovering gratitude, personal growth, and the chaos, emotional or otherwise, that comes with the holiday season. Die Hard nails all these beats, granted some more extremely than others. The first Die Hard famously has our hero attempting to reconcile with his wife as the state of their marriage was left up in the air and tensions forced them apart. However, things continue to get bumpy as John discovers Holly went back to her maiden name in LA, which then leads to a big fight. One of the things that differentiates John McClane from other action icons is that he initially wanted to pass the hostage situation off to the cops and sit everything out. John stepping up and engaging in a battle of wits against villain Hans Gruber to save his wife put everything into perspective for him. One of the biggest character moments comes when John feels he's not going to make it out, and he leaves a somber message for his wife with Al Powell. It's a scene where John realizes how important Holly is to him and why he needs to be with his family. There's also an undercurrent about generosity and redemption symbolized through characters like Powell, the desk cop who hasn't drawn a gun since a traumatic accident. His arc culminated in a decisive moment where he saves John. It mirrors classic Christmas storytelling, a man regaining his belief in himself at the moment it matters most. Die Hard 2 doesn't explore these themes as much. In fact, the personal situation is much different. I applaud them for not regurgitating the whole arc, but at the same time, John has very little to no growth this time. His marriage with Holly has been revitalized. It's revealed early on that he's now a cop in LA. And John is pretty much the same person he became at the end of the first film. However, you could say he has a little arc where he initially butts heads with the head of airport security, and when they discover they've all been tricked by the terrorists, they decide to call a truce and band together to save the day. Throughout the whole movie, though, it's primarily plot-based with little character focus. This one goes to the first movie. No matter the debate, Die Hard has emphatically been accepted into the zeitgeist by a generation as a movie to be celebrated on Christmas. Just look at all the decorations inspired by the John McTiernan film. However, these are mostly byproducts of the scenes that people love. So let's take a look at the holiday moments that the movie's capitalized on with its setting. One of the most iconic moments in Die Hard is when John McClane taunts the bad guys by displaying a dead henchman with a Santa hat and a message on his sweater that read,
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
It's one of the most memorable moments that utilizes the holiday background, while John displays a character moment. He's got a streetwise New York sarcasm and the balls to brag that he capped one of their guys. Another iconic scene is in the end, where John is so close to saving his wife, but he's only got 2 bullets left. McClane is great at thinking on his hurt feet, and figures out he can sneak a hidden gun to the final face-off by sticking it to his back, courtesy of Christmas package tape from the mailroom. Practically like a gift from Santa Claus. There are also tons of memorable aspects from Die Hard 2, but you'd be hard-pressed to find any that people normally bring up or quote just as often as the first. One of the most iconic shots from that film is memorable because it showcased some of the advancing effects of the time. But it's also a great dynamic shot that movies didn't quite strive for as much back then. McClane is stuck in the cockpit of a military plane when the bad guys throw a bunch of grenades through the windows. With the only door barricaded, John makes his way to an ejector seat and pulls the lever right when the plane blows up, and we get a shot of John hurling through the sky right at the camera.
He flies up until his face is a foot from the camera, like this, and then back down again, and you think, what a place to put the point of view. What a great shot. Thank you for going to the trouble of giving us this shot.
Another memorable scene is the way McClane takes out the whole team of villains at the end. While he is seemingly defeated by getting kicked off the wing of their escape plane, John cleverly held onto the cap of the plane's gas tank, and a healthy stream starts pouring out. As the plane is about to take off, John lights the trail of gas on fire and it rushes to the plane, ending with an impressive explosion that kills all the bad guys in one quick swoop. Die Hard 2 has its share of thrilling scenes, but when we're talking iconography, there's just no beating the original, which still stands the test of time. Die Hard 1 takes this part. Christmas and chaos go hand in hand.
You need to think of Herod's soldiers moving through the streets, finding babies and murdering them, and mothers weeping for their children.
When you have family over, chaos. When you go out shopping, chaos. When you get the gift that you've always wanted, happy chaos. A lot of classic Christmas movies deal with a bit of excitement in one way or another. And the DieHards rest comfortably on the action shelf after earning their spots. Die Hard has the reputation of being one of the greatest action movies of all time. Now, why is that? The sequences are relatively intimate and smaller scope than any of today's balls-to-the-wall action. It's because while there are predominantly standard-looking gunfights, the audience is put through the ringer in seeing how John McClane can survive the sticky situation he's been placed in, and the carnage just keeps ratcheting up. It also helps that there are a ton of stakes. Sure, the audience doesn't expect the main star to get offed so easily, but viewers also get engaged with a personal vendetta from one of the villains, as well as seeing the cat and mouse game between McClane and Gruber switch momentum. And the finale gets crazy with a horde of frightened hostages, cocksure FBI guys, a mourning brother on the warpath, and John navigating it all on the top of the high-rise. Die Hard 2 tries its damnedest to live up to the first, but this time it takes a bigger shot of adrenaline. Rennie Harlin may not be in the same conversation as James Cameron or John Woo for a lot of people, but some of his 90s films certainly build a case for him. The second film varies everything up with a bigger, crazier palette. Harlin is also much more sadistic than McTiernan as the violence gets slightly more graphic. The squibs are much bloodier. McClane crushes a guy in a baggage conveyor. Another villain gets sucked into a plane engine and coming out the other side as red goo. And McClane stabs a guy in the eye with an icicle. Harlin just loves impaling. We get more varied action and explosions this time around with a snowmobile sequence, multiple plane destructions, and a much higher body count, of both good and bad people. You know what? It's actually a close call for two different reasons. The first film is a masterclass in suspense married with action, and it's a lot classier in terms of filmmaking, despite showcasing its own graphic violence. The second movie is nearly unhinged, more exploitative. And this part is called Merry Mayhem, so Die Hard 2 will take this one. This part is kind of not fair because even if there are plenty of people out there who are bigger fans of Die Hard 2 over Die Hard, Siskel and Ebert to name a couple,
from beginning to end, for my money, is way superior to the original Die Hard, which...
Oh, I like that too, but this is...
It's good, but it's fun, you know.
This is really something special. I sat there aghast with pleasure. Is that possible?
No.
I feel like even they would acknowledge that the first one has a significantly bigger cultural legacy. The first even started a subgenre within the action category, and whichever setting the subgenre film would take place, it would be referred to as Die Hard on a blank. I think just the fact that a debate still rages on today about Die Hard being a Christmas movie shows just how prevalent it is in people's lives. And to be fair, most of the time, when the first is talked about, the sequel is not far behind. Even if Die Hard 2 doesn't have as many quotables printed on sweaters or merchandise made from it, it's pretty closely tied to the original as much as Home Alone 2 is tied to Home Alone, and that ain't bad. Die Hard 2 may not have strayed far enough to create its own identity, but one thing Die Hard 2 has established, it has an infamous TV edit with a mind-boggling voice actor used to censor Bruce Willis.
Nice guess, officer. I'm a cop, that was a bad guy.
And his signature catchphrase becomes,
"Yippie-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon."
Based on how closely they're tied together, let's call this one a draw. So, ladies and gentlemen, it may have been a fool's errand, but I crowned Die Hard the better Christmas movie over Die Hard 2. You may have a different take than me, and that's okay. Your opinion is inarguable and valid. We here at JoBlo love both these movies anyway, So we just wanted to take some time and pay tribute to these holiday classics. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.